Hello everyone and welcome to another very nice game where I will be playing against Maia Chess. In the previous video I did a very short introduction, some 5 minutes about what Maia Chess is, and if you're interested in that, do check out my previous video. It will be the first thing you see in the description below, along with some of the links regarding this project. Now, in the previous video I faced Maia Chess at a rating of 1100, although her actual rating was somewhat closer to 1500 on Lichess, and now I'm testing the strongest one. It's Maia Chess 1900, and I think the official one is, let me just check, 1962. But I will put a link to this game also in the description below if you want to check out the original. So without further ado, let's check it out. This time I have the white pieces and I open with e4 as I usually do. And sorry about that. Maia goes for d5, the Scandinavian defense. I accept, and now knight to f6, going for the sort of a modern Scandinavian defense, not bringing the queen out too early. And I'm not a fan of defending the pawn, so I just continue my development. Knight f3, I give back the pawn. Knight captures on d5, and now I go with the d4, preparing c4 and further development. We have bishop to g4. And here I go c4, pushing back the knight to f6, and now h3, saying what do you want to do with this bishop to h5, and now I go knight to c3. g4 is actually also very nice here, the strongest move in this position, because it allows you to go bishop to g2 immediately, since black's queen side is a little shaky here. But okay, I went knight to c3 and e6 by Maia. And I forgot to mention, it's again a 3-minute game. And here there are some games in the database with the g4 and c5, but I went queen to b3, and it is a new move already as of move 8. So I'm attacking the b7 pawn and allowing bishop captures on f3. Maia, not interested, defends the pawn with b6, and here I just bring the knight to e5. We have bishop to d6, and I go bishop to d3. Continuing my development, and here it seems like you can win some material with queen captures, but not really, because after queen captures, my pawn captures the knight, and it's a fine position for white. Black doesn't really have anything. This is covered by the knight, so not really in any danger. So Maia goes castles here, and I go knight to g4. And here I'm preparing bishop to g5 to attack, to pin the attacked piece. And here Maia does a pretty bad move. She plays bishop captures on g4, which means she grabs a pawn, but she opens up my h file, and this is just terrible for black. So h captures on g4, knight captures, and now I capture on h7 with check. King to h8, and here I don't go bishop to e4 to go for the rook. I rather go bishop here, and I thought it was enough to, get a mating attack, because I'm either winning the knight here, or after knight to h6, which was played in the game, I captured with the bishop, g captures, and now I played rook captures on h6. We have king to g7 attacking my rook, and I just continue the king hunt. Rook h7 check, king to f6, and now here is a very delicate position where I should continue properly, and by properly I mean knight to e4 check, and this leads to a very quick resolution, because after the king accepts this, then comes queen to h3 with check, and now it's just game. King captures here, queen to e3 with check, king f5, and now rook to h5 check, and that's game. King g6 and the queen to h6 check. But like I said, it's a 3-minute game. I didn't spend a lot of time on any of the moves. I went back bishop to h3. I thought, what could happen wrong? I could go knight to e4 check next. I could castle queenside, bring the other rook into the attack. And it's actually very dangerous to go back with king to e7 because of c5. And now the bishop is under attack, and also if you react to this, queen captures on e6 is coming, since the f-pawn will not be able to capture. So I didn't really see anything wrong with retreating my bishop to h3. However, there is something wrong with it, as you'll see, because Maia played king to g6, and now my rook is trapped on h7. And I'm actually going to use this for a thumbnail, maybe I'm not gonna. So king g6, my rook is under attack, and I can't go here. The queen guards that square. Both of these squares are guarded. 3 squares are guarded by the king. This is covered by the rook, so I have to play something, but the rook is lost. So here I played queen c2 check, f5, and now I went for a queenside castle. I thought, okay, this rook's a goner. I'm just gonna castle and bring the other rook into the game. However, there was a very interesting line again with c5 here, because after captures and let's say bishop captures or bishop to e5, doesn't really matter, rook to d1. This is how you bring the rook into the game. Queen g5 and now knight to e4. Pretty crazy stuff. And then after f captures and queen captures with check, it's a really crazy position. King f6 and now g3 threatening f4, and black just falls apart. So this was in the position. I instead gave up the rook, went queenside castles, and here we have king captures on h7. And now Maia is up a whole rook. But okay, I'm still on the king hunt. Rook to h1. I'm preparing some nasty discoveries now with the bishop. So king g7, avoiding the nasty discoveries, and now g4. Like in the previous game, I don't like my position, but I want to open up lines in front of the black king. We have queen g5 check by Maia. I go back, king to b1, and now knight to c6, bringing the knight into the game, attacking the d4 pawn. And here I capture. I just want to open up lines, not really caring about the d4 pawn. Captures on f5, and now knight to d5. I just wanted to bring my knight as close as possible to the black king, but I don't really have anything here. Maia played knight captures on d4, and I went king c3, pinning the knight. Bishop to e5. Now black is threatening some discoveries. There aren't all that many nasty discoveries, but still you have to be careful. And if I was playing against a human opponent, I would probably resign here, but like you've seen in the previous game, Maia can make some very dubious decisions, and I played knight captures on c7. I thought, okay, maybe she just captures and then I get, maybe I can survive a little bit longer. And she did. She played bishop captures on c7. You should just ignore this, bring the rook into the game. But she did capture it, and now I played queen captures on d4. And it's still not a problem. Black is still much better here. Queen to f6. I played rook g1 check. And now you have to go back with king to h8. Seems like an odd thing to do, putting the king on such a lonely square, cut off from the entire board. But this is actually the way to go for black. Instead, Maia played king to f7, and now the game is completely winning for white. So feel free to pause the video and win the game for me while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on winning the black queen. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it's queen to d7 check. I played queen to d5 check because this is the first option that I checked and I saw it was winning, so I didn't go for queen to d7 one. But you still win the queen, so it's not a problem. We have queen to e6 here. If you move the king with king to e7, just rook to e1 check, and now it's just crushing. You have to give up the queen, and that's it. So instead, Maia played queen to e6, blocking the check this way, but now, of course, as you can imagine, rook to g7 check, king to f6. If you capture it, then the queen is lost, but now just rook to g6 check. And now I forcefully win the queen. Captures, this comes with check, and now rook to f6. But I can just capture on f5, which I did. King to g5, and now queen to e4, going after the rook here. And the problem with trying to save the rook is I have this, very sneaky attack here. King h6 check, queen h4 check, king has to go back. Now I go queen h7 check and win the bishop, so that's not an option. So after queen to e4, Maia played rook captures on f5, and now I played queen captures on a8, and now the position is objectively winning. She played a few more moves, rook captures on f2, but now just queen to g8 check, and now wherever the king goes, I'm either gonna win the bishop. Well, not there, obviously. I'm gonna take the rook, but if something like this, I'm just gonna win the bishop. So she played this, and then I played just queen to f8 check, king e5, and now I grabbed the rook as well. So bishop to d6. The game continued for a few more moves. I'm not gonna analyze this because it's a queen against the bishop. So we're just gonna take it all the way. She made me work for my meal, so that's fine. I'm used to that. But okay, queen captures on d7. I was able to win by checkmate, and Maia was even nice enough to say GG, thanks for playing in the chat on Chess. So yeah, it was a bit of a different experience than facing the 1100 Maia, but not that much of a harder experience. It was pretty much the same. I went into the opening well. I played well, and then I got a winning advantage very early on. But then that weird situation where I thought that everything was perfectly fine, but then it turns out it wasn't. Here, where I just retreated with bishop to h3, planning on just finishing the attack afterwards, but after this I just completely missed. My rook was trapped, and then I had to really try and get back into the game. And like I said, if I played this against a human opponent, I would have resigned, but I was able to trick her with that knight captures on c7 move. So never resign, because it happens to human opponents as well. So yeah, that's the game. Once again, I do hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, if you're interested more about Maia Chess, do check out the previous video as well, where I talk a bit more about the entire project, and also if you haven't checked out that game. So yeah, once again, hope you guys enjoyed it. I would like to thank Dylan Streeter, Campiano Victor, Loftur Amundson, Brandon Chu, and Brent Schulman for a contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot, I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of the Morphy saga, checking up on your wonderful suggestions, and whatever else happens in the chess world. Thank you all, I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.